Just starting up. All right, we live, people. It's been a while. It's been a while since you've seen Black Eyes TV live coming to you on this special occasion, marking a year on. And this is the beginning of the Khemetic New Year. But so, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my elder to start the proceedings with some blessings and with some words of wisdom to let us know why we're gathering today on this special day. Elder,
Du,
introduce
dua,
yourself and talk to the people.
dua, Anuk Ptah Sikasa. My name is Ptah Sikasa. I welcome you to Black Ice TV 7 platform. We're here to celebrate Ubin Septet Cyrus Rising, the Helical Rising. This is New Year's Day, Neferu, Ren Pet. Happy New Year's to everyone. This is Ptah Sikasa, and I'm going to let go. I'm going to pass the mic now to our Siba in the Sudan, Amru
Hotapu,
Mariamet. Amen.
Hotapu, 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 everyone. Dua'u, Roni, Amru, Mari Ma'at, Anuk, Sabah, Nimadunacha. I would like to welcome you. I'm from Sudan. I live in Khartoum. And happy Rampet Day. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this interview with my brother Ptah Sika Osah and my brother brother Richie from UK. And it's been a long time in Sudan since we had a chance to communicate outside to the world, because we have been in a kind of an aggressive system regime of government. But now we are changing, and for black people out there, black people everywhere, the table are turning. We are getting back to where we used to be. Dua'u, Hotapu, we're getting to that naga, to that power. And it's an exciting time. I'm very excited. It's different from last year. This year is I'm very excited about this year. And dua'u to everyone.
That's so. That's so. And final but not least, our brother, introduce yourself
Hotep.
to the people. Let them know who you are. Unmute your mic.
Yeah.
Dua, hete pu. Anuk Ramutep Kweb. I am Ramutep Kweb. I'm a global distributor for the Retiring Solar Sigil Lunar Calendar. I'm here to give honor and respect to the elders, to my brother in the Sudan, my brother in the UK. Definitely loving to be on the show right now. I'm over here trying to get myself ready. I gotta actually do like a job in a couple hours, but I'm here to bring in the Ram Pet on a great blast. So enjoy the show, everybody. Definitely peace and love, and let's continue.
That's so. All right. Without further ado, we're gonna get into the
Yeah.
reason why we're here. You know, the purpose of this. And again, for anyone who doesn't know, we
I'm just
gathered
happy
here
to be.
today a year
I'm just
ago.
happy for meeting you guys. Yeah.
I'm happy that you're here because again, as I was about to say, you know, a year ago we came together. Oh, look, our brother Basika's
Yeah.
dropped off. He's back on. Yeah, a year ago we came together. For those who don't know, and we tried to do this same link up. Well, me and our elder Ptah Seeker, we did link, and we had brother Carver join us, and we talked about the importance of celebrating and seeing in the new year. And we went over our aspect of how our ancestors saw time, which again we're going to touch on today. But for anyone who doesn't know, please, I urge you, go back to the Black Eyes TV archives, go and look out for it. In that show, we was planning to hook up with our brother from the Sudan. So again, I'm extra happy today to have him joining us. and under the circumstances that I know he's under. So that's even more blessings all day long. But as I said, let's go to our
Yeah,
brother Ptah,
blessings.
Seba. Tell us why we're here. Tell us what you know. Why are we celebrating this, and how you came to some of this knowledge, and what's important for us to recognize on this day.
Dua, Siba, Black Ice TV Richie. Before I begin, I shall perform the Hesi and the Saku to ask permission to speak from the ancient ones, the Netarus and the ancestors. I shall ask the great Queen Mother Goddess, Queen Afur, for permission to speak. I shall ask our great Siba, Samaj Ptah, for permission to speak. I shall ask Sunni Valentine for permission to speak. I may ask for Dr. Professor Leonard Jeffries' permission to speak. I will ask the Siba Kaba Kamini for permission to speak. I shall ask our Sibat, our Mutnatat, our Queen Mother Goddess, Nateri Nelson, and
Wow.
Nzinga Dalila for permission to speak. I shall ask for Mefundishi, Jehuti Mes, for permission to speak. I shall ask Mario Bidi for permission to speak. And I now shall pronounce the Usamedu Nefer, the Heka'u, the divine words of power, to command the cosmic forces that allow us love, guidance, and protection through the daily experience of ponderable matter, and to command the forces. So I shall perform my rite of passage so that I may have permission to speak through the ancestors by identifying where the star Sirius and Septet is and Ra on this most auspicious day, the helical rising, Ubin Septet, Septet Sirius rising, Wet Red Pet Dejet New Year's celebration. Happy New Year's, everybody. And I shall begin.
Happy New Year.
Hete Pu, Dua, Duau, Nezarek Ramech, Em Hotep. Greetings and divine greatness, divine excellence to the first families, my Nagas, my Shemserus, my Nesubitis, my Hemets, my Sibas, Sibats, Mutatats, the immortal ones of Ma'at, cherished, phenomenon of precession, New Age order, the great golden age of Ma'at Piasar, and all citizens of the Nile Valley cultural cosmic collective consciousness spirituality. Nezarak, O As Ermut, Patnataru, Panebu, the mother of the Netarus, the mistress of Pet, the maker of mankind, she who is mighty in Usamedu Nefe Heka'u, words of power, mother of all initiations. Bless us humble servants for Ankh, life now present, for we seek the counsel of the ancient ones and practice daily the ancient Ma'atin ways and ancient Ma'atin truths. We strive evermore to become one with thee in this world and in the existence to come. We ask that you bless us on this, the helical rising, on the New Year's Day, the first day of the first month of Jehuti, the first day of Ra, the first month of the first day of the first season of Shemu, year number 9, AFNK/ST, after the founding of New Kemet, Naga Kemet, Samatawi, phenomenon of precession, New Age order, the great golden age of Ma'at Hapi Asa. We ask that you bless our families and friends and all those of us who gather together to worship in your most holy, sacred, and glorious ancient Tamarian name of Ast Ermut Pratnataru Panebu. For in the art of seeking you, there is much comfort. So as it is spoken, so let it be written, so let it be said, so let it be done for now and forever forward. Ra Nebateshara, Panata Apupamaat, Unkwas Dejet, Uncle Jahasaneb, Uben, Nepike Panebu Heru Ma'ati, rising always in divine excellence with Ma'at, every day, all day. Dua Sibas, Dua.
Dua. Dua.
Dua, dua.
You are.
Yeah.
That's all. Seba,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
let's start off by talking about how we mark this time of year. I want to get straight into that. I want to get into the significance of how we're marking time. So
Okay,
let's
I'm
start
gonna.
there, Seba.
I'll jump right into it. I'll take 15 minutes and then I'm gonna hand it over to my brother Amru Mary Ma'at. He can take it from there. Just give me 15 minutes to break this down. Okay, today is the most auspicious, most precious moment of our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness spirituality. Today is the day that the star and the sun rises over the Giza Plateau or on the Nilotic Meridian. 30 longitude, 30 latitude. That means from the Giza Plateau down to the Sudan, down to Ethiopia, the Tir, down to the Nabta Playa, straight down to Adam's calendar. The star is rising right now. It rose an hour ago. We're going to get the confirmation from my brother, Asiba. I'm Mary, my aunt, in a minute. But what we have to understand is when the star and the sun rises together, it means that our earth has made one complete revolution of the sun. This is how our ancestors knew the yearly process and the seasonal process. Now, when this happens on our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality side, this is when the frequencies and the vibrations and the energy upon the planet are reverberating within all melanated people at one time. So if you know the symbol of Subtet, it's a spike. It looks like a pyramid, but it's too skinny. It might be a tekken or an obelisk, but it's a spike. Then there's the letter T. The T is a half circle, and then there's a star underneath it. That spike represents telluric forces. It represents telluric forces, which are the ley lines that run across the planet. They're all ignited right now. The portals are all open. All the energy and the frequencies are being released to us, Naga people, melanated people. Our ancestors are revealing the ancestral spirituality forces to us right now. All we have to do is connect to it. And we connect to it by understanding it mathematically through our sacred science and our divine math, and with absolute accountability and star validation. So we have to understand we're dealing with time. What is time? Time is the movement or measurement of the light through the void of deep dark cold space from one point or distance to another. Its speed is 186 miles per second. Light is the absence of darkness, and darkness is the absence of light. Light is the giver of Ankh, life, to all things upon the terrestrial plane within the atomic domain. Ankh, life, is the consciousness and awareness of being. Ankh, life, is the generic expression of the light, and it's only found in three forms exclusively: solids, liquids, and gases. Matter, the elements, nature, the netarus, the partnetarus, the gods and goddesses. However, light, atomic energy, the hydrogen atom, Kepra, the outer verse, the expanding universe, is not the Zep Tepi. It's not the first time. It is not the origins of existence and the creation and development of the universe. Ankh, light, the light has a mirrored reflection, which is radiation, which is subatomic, which is the cosmic egg, which we call Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra. So this is the story. This is the sacred. Our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality is based upon the doctrines of Ma'at and the concept of self-creation. So what we're here to do is understand how to relate to time, because we're all stuck on this Gregorian calendar, which is a lunar cycle calendar. This is why we are all into mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery, because nobody knows how to tell time. That's why we're here today, to recognize the cosmic forces that allow us love, guidance, protection, which is happening right now on the Giza Plateau and in the Sudan. Our brother is going to confirm this. And what we have to understand is that it is at this time that we connect to our primordial ancestors. And for the last 5 days, it was 360 days on July the 20th on the Gregorian calendar, which means that there's 5 more days remaining. What do we do with these 5 days? These are the 5 days that the Earth Netchers were born. Heru, Asar, As, Nebhet, As, Heru, Asar, Sut, Set, As, the Nebhet. And Nebhet's birthday just passed, and on the next morning, the star rises. And when this star rises is when we connect to our spirituality. Our spirituality means that Asar and As gave birth to Heru, and Heru and Heteru gave birth to the 4 children of Heteru, who are Hapi, Tuamutep, Mester, Hapi, Tuamutep, and Quebsonep. So we are born from the 4 tribes of Heru. We are Shemsu Herus. So the Shemsu Herus came from Heru and Heteru. And Heru came from Asar and As. And Asar and As came from Seb the earth and Nut the sky. And Nut the sky and Seb the earth came forth from Shu and Tefnu. And Shu and Tefnu came forth from the direct issue of Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra. Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra is what we call it. In the primordial text, he's called Nebuchadnezzar. Everybody knows him as Nebuchadnezzar. Neb means Lord, Tesha means most holy, means great. They call him the Lord of the Most High. But we put the Ra in the front and the Ra in the back because we have one Ra, which is atomic energy, and the other Ra is a mirror reflection, which light and radiation. So we're bringing forth the New Age Order Star Gospel of the self-creation of Ra Nebuchadnezzar, which brings our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality into harmony and balance with Ma'at. And later on in the show, we're going to break it down scientifically and mathematically. I just want to let everybody know how we're relating to this on a cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality level, because this is our story. This has nothing to do with history or his story. This is our story. This is the story of our ancestors, our African, indigenous, primordial ancestors, the Huta, the Twa, the Bantu, our Naga ancestors, and their spirituality deals with the light and the rising of Cyrus, and with the circumpolar stars through the northern star shaft of the Great Pyramid points to the solar stars, circumpolar stars, which represents the never setting stars, so that we know where we're located on the galactic elliptic plane of our quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy, which means the 26,000 years of the phenomenon of precession. Okay, this is what this calendar, our calendar, gives us. This is an Ipet Heru. Ipet Heru Shabitem Tuaru Pamat. Ipet means to measure. Heru means day. That's one way of saying calendar. Or Shabit Mtwaheru Pamat. Shabit is the shadow. Shabit means shadow because when the light shines down on anything physical, solids, liquids, and gases, it creates a shadow. So we use another terminology called Shabit Mtwaheru Pamat, which is another way of saying in Medunetta, a calendar. But we're not trying to speak of history. We're trying to speak of our story, in which we shall elaborate further as we get deeper into the conversation of the importance of this day and the spirit and the spiritual moment and the powers that are before you, that all you need is an eye to see, an ear to hear, and an understanding heart, because we're here to acquire the ability to experience the phenomenon of being. That means that is our divine birthright. Our divine birthright is immortality. Yeah. Immortality is here now. And I will now pass it over to my Siba, Amru Mary Ma'at, so that he may elaborate even more. For he's there online. He's in the Sudan right now. We want to hear from you, brother. We want to hear what we want to know if the Nile is rising, if the Nile has inundated, has the snow caps melted on Kilimanjaro. Is this the season of Shemu? Are we in accordance with the laws of our ancestors there where you are now in our indigenous homeland of the Sudan?
Dua. Thank you, brother. Thank
you. Siba.
Thank you, brother Seba Ptah Osa. You are one of our elders, and Seba is the star, and we follow all the stars, and we want to find our way in our lives, and spirituality is connected with politics, with our way of life, with energy, and especially I just want to shed some light on the internal energy that that our ancestors call it they call it by many names, like the Ra energy, the inner Ra, the Amin Ra energy, in quantum mechanics these days they call it the 0 point energy, and it's the energy which been used to harness in the pyramids, and that's the greatest knowledge that our ancestors used to have. And especially when we speak about life energy, we're speaking about technology that it's coming to the earth by our Sebas, by our teachers all over the world. And this great expansion that we are having right now, it's big, especially for African people all over the world. Things are changing because we're getting back to our own spirituality, our own internal energy, And we need to build. We need to build. And people in the diaspora, they have done a lot of contribution to the change that we're happening in the consciousness of African people. The life force energy is the new technology. It's the new way of harnessing energy. We all know about the nuclear energy, and the nuclear energy is basically explosive energy which comes out of an explosion. And the technology that brings the life force energy is an implosive energy, which
implosive.
is,
Yes,
it's a
implosive.
it's a coherent, it's a coherent energy. And that's why this technology is being hidden from the masses. And I think this is the new way of approaching the all spiritual people from all over the world, and especially the people in the scientists or in the science side of spirituality. We want to come all together, and we want to make great changes in our time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dua.
Yeah. Dua'u, yeah. I
Continue.
remember that I have the Hotep Dina Su. You heard about it? The
No.
Hotep Dina Su.
No.
Yeah, it's done by our elder, our teacher, Kati Amin. It's the prayer.
Oh, Raketi Amen. Raketi Amen.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Yeah,
Queen
yeah.
Mother. Yes, our Queen Mother goddess here in America. Yes, Raketi Amen. Yes,
Yeah,
the Queen Mother.
The Queen Mother. Yeah. The Hotep Dina Su. It's the Hotep Dina Su. Asir nabjadu, nachara nab abiju. This is the prayer for an offering that the king gives to which is like a spiritual libation, giving thanks to our ancestors. And this is one of the famous ones.
Yes,
And
yes, please.
things are changing here in Sudan, in Africa. I took a trip to Ghana about a month ago, 2 months ago, and I met conscious people there, and I got this ankh from Accra. Yeah, there's a lot of conscious people there, and this is a great time for African people. It's a great time for African people, and we shouldn't speak about being vulnerable anymore or being don't have no power, because we got all the power, and we have the authority as spiritual people, as the ancient one on this planet, is to take the leap, to take the lead in the next the next coming days. And
yes,
yeah,
yes. Dua.
yeah. Let me just brief show you that this is how the energy flows. Brother Ptah, you know about this.
Absolutely, but continue. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Continue.
So yeah.
No, continue.
So okay. So I advise African people all over the world is to do the meditation that required for you to elevate this energy, so you can go to the next level, because things are going very fast, and people into religion, people into old tradition, people into Islamic tradition, people into Christianity. I advise them to go inside themselves and find consciousness inside themselves. And this is how this is how you find your way. You go within yourself, then you activate that part of you, and then the world will reflect on your life. So this is one of the most important things. You need to do your meditation. You need to elevate, and you need to learn the Midunecha, because the Midunecha is our national language. And here in Sudan, what we are trying to do is we're trying to give the Sudanese people a chance to have their own African language, to be the national language here in Sudan. And from here, we can start all Africa. And all Africa can be united in one consciousness and one language, which got the physics, got the mathematics, and it's got the spiritual reciting. It's got everything that we need to establish Kemet, which is Sudan, by the way. The name Kemet means, in Arabic, means Sudan, which is the black fertile land, the black people land. And it's basically the root of Pan-African ideology and a Pan-African struggle and rulership in the Nile Valley, in the place where happy, actually, that's the name, happy, where happy flows. And Sudan, especially Khartoum, is the belly of happy, which is the fertile land. And it's where the Blue Nile from Ethiopia and the White Nile from Uganda meet. It meets in a very special place. It's called Al-Mugran in Arabic, Al-Mugran, which means in English, which means things coming, which means things melting together, things coming together. And this place is where Khartoum is, where the White Nile and the Blue Nile meet. Actually, this is Kush, they call it. It's the ancient Kush, where the 25 dynasty do their big change in the Nile Valley. And speaking about that, now we are coming back to that, because in Sudan we are being advanced right now, and we are skipping the people in Egypt, in modern day Egypt, because we are getting in a democracy. We are getting in a democracy in Sudan, and in people in Egypt, they still in the dictatorship, let's say. So from this, we are moving into democracy, and from that point, we are moving into an African unification. And the African struggle in Sudan, it's been for a long time, and now it's reaching its peak to go in the next level, which is uniting all African people in one spirituality. Finding yourself, especially finding yourself, Samatawi, which is uniting your own. You should come and see the ancient site. They are very alive, yeah. And the National Museum, which I'm planning to managing it for quite some time. We don't know. The other one, the manager in the museum, I kicked them out. I did. I kicked them out of the, because they didn't give me a chance to do a seminar in the in the museum, and the manager, which is the minister, the ex-minister of antiquity. He's he's one of the Muslim Brotherhood, or the Islamic. So he was saying that I never been in the museum because there's statues in the museum. So that's when I get angry, and that's when I kick them out. I told them that I worship these statues. How about that? So yeah, that's
Our
why. Yeah.
ancestors. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a big change happening right now, and people are waking up, especially African people in the continent, because they didn't have a chance to have this knowledge or to have this expansion like outside in the diaspora. But now people in the African continent, they are pretty much waking up and aligning themselves to the ancestors, to our ancestors.
So what is the condition
They
right
feel
now? How is the condition with the
the
invading forces? Are
okay.
the people from
Yeah,
Dubai and the people from Saudi Arabia, are they invading Sudan right now? Are we having
yeah,
an invasion because of
it's
they
happening. Yeah.
lifted? I heard that they lifted sanctions. I heard that the U.S. ambassador to the
They did.
USA came to Sudan and lifted
Yeah,
sanctions on the Sudan. Did they lift the sanctions? And is the gold now
he
up
did.
for
Yeah,
grabs?
yeah. He lift. They lift up the sanctions, but they didn't lift up from the terrorist list, and the situation is that the Islamic regime has fallen, and when the Islamic regime fallen, the power shifted from Qatar, which is a Gulf country, to Saudi Arabia and the Dubai people. All the nomad people, they're trying to take away our land. They're trying to control our army. So they have this war in Yemen, and the Sudanese soldiers fighting for them. So they're using our soldiers to fight their own battles. Those are people in Saudi Arabia and in UAE. So what's happening is that there's the army, there is the Sudanese army force, and there is the militia force, which called the Janjaweed, which is a very notorious, infamous militia. They have been killing people in Darfur. You heard about Darfur crisis. They've been killing people, thousands of people in Darfur and now in Khartoum. Now they are doing their killing and massacre in the capital here in Khartoum. They are backed by Saudi Arabia, and they are backed by the UAE. Those are your nomads people. They live in the Middle East, and unfortunately, people in the United States, the government, they cannot do anything because the people in Saudi Arabia, they got a lot of money given them, so they cannot. They're keeping him hush hush about what's happening in Sudan, and all they do is that they just do their Hajj. You know, the Muslim Hajj. That's what they do. They take the people from Africa, and they just make money out of them, going all the way in Mecca and doing all this kind of tradition, and things are changing right now because from a side we are freeing from the Islamic system, but we are in a struggle with another brutal system, which is the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the notorious MBS, which is the king of Saudi Arabia. And now things are a bit getting calm in Sudan, and we got an agreement with the army, the Sudan army. We are the rebels. We're fighting against the army, and now we are getting in an agreement with the Sudan army, so we can implement a 3 years democracy in Sudan. So now we're getting in that road to democracy through 3 years of rehabilitation of the 30 years of Islamic killing machine. They've been killing us for 30 years, and that's a long time. The system, they rule. They have everything. The money in the government. They still have the keys to all the country. So in these 3 years, we're going to try to cut them off from the country, basically trying to kick them out. Day by day until these 3 years finish, so we can establish Sudan for everyone. Sudan has been ruled by those Muslims who came from Saudi Arabia, and they've been doing this war against Africa. Sudan is the middle of this African change, because it's the biggest country in Africa, and it holds many ethnicities. It's the biggest ethnicities in Africa, and all these people coming together in this Islamic Arab nationality, which has been happening for 50 years. So this revolution break out to change that. And now we are moving into a new African leadership, a new African spirituality, and that's what we are doing here right now.
Dua. You heard it first.
Yeah.
You heard it first right here on Black Ice TV. Richie, Black Ice TV 7.
You see, bro.
Yeah.
That's all. Let me interrupt the stream and just say to everybody that's tuning in, big up. Thanks for tuning in so far. We're celebrating.
Yeah.
You're breaking up, Richie. You're breaking up. You're breaking up real bad.
Basically. Can you hear me, people? Can you hear me?
No, you're breaking up real bad.
Yeah. It's breaking up.
You're breaking up real bad, Richie. Okay, well, Richie's coming back in. I want my brother, Ramutef. Okay. Can we hear you? No, you're coming in bad, Richie.
Live.
Very bad. Very bad. No, you're coming in bad, Richie. Ramutef, at the same time, share your screen.
Bring in Ra.
Ramutef, share your screen. Show us where the star Subtit is. Show us where Subtit and Ra is rising at this time. Share your screen so that the people who are listening and watching can see for themselves where the star Cyrus is at this particular time, so that we can confirm our astronomical and astrological configurations and astronomical data. Ramutef, the cosmic thought, could you please share your screen?
Brother.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out as we speak. Give me a second.
Okay, you still haven't got it together yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, in the meantime, this is what Brother Amru was saying, that in order for us
Right.
all to come together, we have to come together under one Ipeteru, under one solar civil lunar calendar. This will bring all the countries together. We have to drop down that Gregorian calendar from our walls, because this is why is all the confusion. This is why all the chaos is, because they have us under a Gregorian lunar cycle calendar. And with the lunar cycle calendar, you can only grow crops. The lunar cycle calendar is the 30-day calendar that's only good for, it's a seasonal civic calendar, which you can grow crops with. And then, but they still keep us under mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery, because we have no we have no unification with our spirituality. To have a unification with our spirituality, we must become together within the doctrines of Ma'at and the concept of self-creation. Spirituality is not about knowing yourself. Spirituality is about knowing self-creation. And this is what our ancient doctrines, or our ancient African cultural cosmic collective conscious spirituality was based upon. The concept of self-creation. And it begins in our cultural spirituality through the Medunetta, through the pyramid text of Unas, Teta, Deje, Raneb, and Den. It says on the pyramid walls in Medunetta, in our ancient cultural cosmic collective consciousness spirituality, we have no religion. We did not have a religion. We had a cultural cosmic collective conscious spirituality. We did not believe in no God. God came in to impose and to suppress us into mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery. So our cultural cosmic collective conscious spirituality in Medunetta, Ramutef, when you're ready, just flash the screen and I will be quiet. Until you flash the screen, I'm going to keep orating, Ramutef, okay? So our cultural cosmic
Can
collective
I say
conscious
something?
spirituality. Yes.
Yeah. Dua'u, yeah.
Dua.
Dua'u. Regarding the Midunecha. The
Yes.
Midunecha, it's got two names. It's got a spiritual name, and listen to this carefully. It's got spiritual name and a political name. The spiritual name, which is Midunecha, which is regarding the communication with the nature, with the Necharu. And the political name, which is Ra Nikamet, and Ra Nikamet, which is the mouth of Kemet. And the mouth of Kemet is the geographical area of the Happy Valley, and it is the language that been used in politics in the Happy Valley to unite people together under one nation, under one land, uniting the two land. The Midunecha, or the Rani Kemet, has played a big role in uniting the two lands. And every Nasubeti, every Nasubeti use the Midunecha, or the Rani Kemet, the mouth of Kemet, to unite the Happy Valley people. And I think that we've been doing this for thousands of years. For the reason is that the Happy Valley area is a crowded area with different ethnicities and different nationalities and different people coming to the Happy River to have a life. And the Midunecha is the language that unites the people, because in Midunecha there is the language that the people use to speak with authority, to speak with knowledge, with consciousness. The people in the Happy Valley must have a groundbreaking knowledge of the Middle Nature, the Rani Kemet, and this is what Jahuti Mas, the Nasubeti, was doing in Sudan, because I saw his writing in the Jutwab, you know, the sacred mountain, the sacred mountain in the Amun, Amun temple mountain, and in Jabal Barkar, which is Jutwab, there's temples for Jahuti Mas, temples for Ramasu Maria Amin, and Jahuti Mas, he's Antaharga also, which is the Kushite king. He also unified the two land using the Middle Nature. I want to thank you, everyone, and I want to say dua to everyone. I'm very excited that we have this gathering that we want to do for a long time. I need to go because I have a meeting in 15 minutes or in 30 minutes. So I have to make a change. So I'll see you, everyone. Okay?
Brother, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Most definitely.
Yeah.
We are honored. We are honored to have your presence.
Yes. And we're definitely going to do another show with you on where you can talk some more and give us the lay of the land, how it is in Sudan. We appreciate you. We love you. Yeah.
You just holla at me. Holla at me on the, just holla at me on the hangout, and we will talk. Okay.
Absolute. Dua. Siba. Palata pupamaro kwasta jero kujasaneb. Ubenafike pandeburu. Mahati to you, my Siba. Amru. Medi. Ma'at. Dua. Hotep.
Hotep, brother.
Okay. That was beautiful. That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Elder, can you hear me clearly now? Everybody can hear me clearly.
We hear you. We hear you perfectly now. Now you got the show.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Everybody out there in the chat room, big up for watching. I want you to hit the like button, please. Share this video. I want to big up all the goddesses in the chat room because we have got a good few females in here. We need that divine feminine energy. Without you, none of this can run. So I appreciate all the feminine energy in the chat room right now. And I big up all the brothers, the goddesses, and gods out here lending their energy to this proceedings, because without you, it wouldn't really make no sense.
Yes.
You understand? So I really want to thank everyone for that. So everyone, again, hit the like button. Hit the like button. So, brother.
Brothers, I apologize.
Did you get it
to work?
You can't get it to work? Okay, Ramutef, don't worry about it. I'll take it from here. You're okay. I know you're driving. I know.
The picture to our chat.
Okay, all right. Okay, it's okay. The energy. We're gonna recover the energy and the forces, and we're gonna carry on this show because our brother from the Sudan has gave us a lot of information. He's brought us through. But we're going to bring it back to the principal discussion of the conversation that we have. The topics of this program, of this platform today, is the Ren Pet, the helical rising. This is Happy New Year's. Our sun has just made one, our earth has made one complete revolution around the sun. And we have now returned back to its original position. It is the annual cycle. And so we want to break down the Medunetta. Let's stay with the Medunetta now. The word for helical rising, Uben Subtit, is called Ren Pet. Ren Pet. Ren is the mouth with the water sign underneath it. And then you have the sky next to it, which means Ren Pet. Ren means name. Pet means sky. How can that mean New Year's? It doesn't make sense unless you're able to apply its esoterical spirituality by taking the names, and you have to be able to reverse the names. So each Medunetta name has to be able to turn it around. Okay? So if you turn the mouth around and the water sign, which is Ren, you get the water sign on top of the mouth, and you get Nur. Nur means energy. Okay. Now we take Pet, the sky, PT, and we turn that around and we get Tep. Tep means time, like Zep Tepi, first time. Okay. So now it's going to make sense because now we got Ren meaning name and Nur meaning energy for the first word, for the first part of the name of the Medunetta. And then on the back end, we have Pet, which means sky, and we turn that around and we got Tep, which means first. Okay, so we have the first energy and the name of the sky, and now you have to put it into your cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality, doctrines of Ma'at, and the concept of self-creation. Now what begins to make sense. Well, we use God in the sign list, or if we're using any type of European information to interpret our language, then we become Hellenized and lobotomized. We become injured humanity. We become what our Dr. Professor Leonard Jeffries would say, we suffer from the paralysis of the analysis. So we're going in to find the analysis of the paralysis, but because we're into his story and trying to be scholars and academia, that we fail to see our story. We're here to talk about our story. Our story is about the story of millions and millions of years. So Ren Pet, you have energy and name, you have sky, and Tep means first. So you have the first energy and the name of the sky, and then you have to place it within our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality doctrines of immortality. Through primordial temple discipline, we understand the concept of self-creation. It only works if we go cosmic. We have to stay away from his story and deal with our story. Our story spans millions and millions of years. And the doctrines of immortality, and when we use the Medunetta to interpret this information or translation or reliteration, we know that in the pyramid text is written in mute testimony, the doctrines of Ma'at and the concept of self-creation is what they stole from us. And then scientifically, we know that Ra Nebuchadnezzar has 4 attributes of manifestation, which are Temu, to think. Temu and Medunetta means to think. Atum is not the first primordial nature in Medunetta, as most people and scholars might think, like on the Shabaka stone. They say that Atum is the supreme being. Atum is atomic energy. When the sun is setting in the evening, in the west, in Amenti, they call him Atum Ra. Atum Ra means he or she who is complete. The setting sun is called Atum. So we're calling the setting sun, or referring to anything that deals with the sun. Scientifically, we're talking atomic energy. We're talking of the hydrogen atom. So we cannot be talking primordial information if we're talking atomic, because the Zep Tepi is subatomic. All right, let's just try to get a grasp upon this Medunetta, so that everybody that doesn't know Medunetta, even those that think they do know Medunetta, if you're not relating it to the concept of self-creation, then you're relating it to history. You're relating it to Champollion, to Bowes, to Birches, to Bremstead, to Reisner, or to any historian who came in to bring about our demise. Okay, so now let me just stay to the point here. So now we're dealing with the concept of self-creation, trying to interpret the word Ren Pet, because it's the helical rising. We're trying to receive this energy, these divine telluric forces, this conductivity, this continuity, these ley lines that are being ignited right now. How can we embrace this information? What can it do for us today? And how can it apply to our spirituality to assist our children out of our mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery? There's only one way, and that is knowing the concept of self-creation. Your spirituality has nothing to do with yourself. Oh, if I want to be spiritual, I got to find out about myself. That's you. You've been corrupted. Our information has been corrupted, fragmented, plagiarized, and then it was regurgitated back to us in an unholy manner as history, or as his story. Okay, and all his story is our story that's been plagiarized and regurgitated back to us in an unholy manner, placed under religion, under this God that doesn't even exist, this one God that you can't even see, and has nothing to do with us. But when you understand the helical rising and the Zep Tepi, and you're understanding now Ren, Ner, and Ner, and Ren is name, and Ner is energy. Pet is sky or firmament. It doesn't mean heaven. We don't have no word for heaven in our language. Heaven and hell are European concept. When you use the word heaven, you've been Hellenized again. So you have to understand, you have to recognize the etymology. The etymology has been corrupted. Every aspect of your life has been corrupted, mental, physical, and spiritual. The food you eat in the morning. When you came on this show, I wanted to do the Hesi and also introduce the Live It for those of us on first frequency, because this is a first frequency specifically presentation and orientations for us, for our first families who have the eye to see, the ear to hear, to understand how, because we're not going to be able to save this 8 billion people of us on the planet. We're not going to be able to save everybody. Everybody's not going to give up Jesus. They love Jesus. They love the word of God. They fear the word of God. They long to be a Muslim. They're all slave traders. The Christians are slave traders. The Muslims are slave. They want to be Muslims. Why you want to be someone who already enslaved you? You want to be a Christian. You want to be a Judaism. But let me stay to the point so I don't digress here. Understanding the concept of self-creation, you're able to understand your cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality. And so I find the source in the pyramid text. The pyramid text of Unas, Teta, Deja, Raneb, and Den. Our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality is the first I am. So the first I am for the feminine energy that is out there, let me just say that our creator is androgynous, is a he and a she. The masculine and the feminine energy is always with us from the beginning of the Zep Tepi all the way to now and to the end. And the end is the beginning is the end. Our story is of immortality, okay? And so now in the pyramid text, let me just break this down because I'm on my turmeric, I'm on my Cyrus D. I'm high energy right now. Don't mind me if I'm speaking too quickly, but this is first frequency specifically. Okay, so now in the pyramid text, we know in our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality, because we have to relate this with the integer. We must have sacred science, divine mathematics, our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality, which is not a religion. It is a cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness spirituality, and it must have absolute accountability and star validation, or Ma'at is not present. So let me give you, my name is Ptah Sikasar, for those who don't know who I am. I'm from Boston, Mass. I'm the one who erected the Royal Burial Chamber of Nesubitya Spalta at the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists. It is the only reconstructed ancient Egyptian royal burial chamber in the United States of America. It's in Roxbury, Mass. at the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists, 300 Walnut Ave, Roxbury 02119, if you want to Google it. I will be there tomorrow at 1 o'clock to perform the Hesi inside the royal burial chamber like I do every year. I did one the other day for the Earth Netcherus because we're going through the ancestors. But let me just bring this helical rising so that everybody can understand why this is the most auspicious day of the year for us. Spiritually, which means our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality, we come from the 4 children of Heru. We are Shemsu Herus. Okay, Shemsu means a child of or a follower of Heru. Now, there are also Nagas who are our brothers and sisters who are Shemsu Sets. Okay, there's only 2 people on this planet. You're either a Shemsu Heru or a Shemsu Set. I'm a Shemsu Heru. I was born from the loins of Heru. Heru came from Asa and Ast, who came from Seb the earth and Nut the sky, who came from Shu and Tefnut, who are matter, gas, and liquid, who came from Ra, the direct issue of Ra Never Teshera. So I'm trying to introduce you to the pyramid text right now in the Medunetta. And in the Medunetta, it says, I am he, she, who existed in the primeval ocean of nothingness, eons and eons of evolutions ago, before the beginnings of time. When I thought that the moment had come, I fashioned my mouth and I uttered my name as a word of power. With this power that was my birthright, I fashioned myself in forms from out of the primeval ocean of nothingness. I was alone at this time. There were none others with me then. I am the beginnings of time, which began when I took form and commanded the power. Now it came to pass that I found no place upon which I could stand, So I straightway brought forth from my own mind and thoughts the primeval mound from out of the primeval ocean of nothingness. Being that I was alone at this time, it pleased me to make others. So I went from being nature 1 to nature 3. I made these beings in the manner in which all things are made. I, Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra, the he, the she, the mother and father of all existence, I embraced my shadow and I grasped my member and I loved myself. I issued forth the nature Shu and I multiplied his forms millions and millions of times. I gathered a portion of the remains and I swallowed them and I spat forth Tefnut. They are my heart and soul, twins born of the same birth. And where you find the one, you'll find the three. For the three is of the one and the one is of the three. Shu and Tefnut had union. And in similar manner, I multiplied their forms millions and millions of times. They had union and gave birth to Seb and Nut. Seb and Nut, Nut is the sky, Seb is the earth. He's created matter now. Seb and Nut had union and gave birth to the earth Neterus, who are Heru, Asar, Sut, As, and Nebhet. Asar and Heru, Asar and Asasar and Aset gave birth to Heru. Heru and Heru gave birth to the Shemsu, who are Mester, Hapi, Tormotep, and Quebsina. Okay, so now to put this in a mathematical equation to bring us back to the Ifeteru, the calendar. Okay, we're going to go deep now. We're getting ready to go cosmic in a minute. We're going to go where no one's ever went before, because I know there's a lot of perpetrators that are listening, but there are a lot of first frequencies, and no one's going to steal this information. This information is for melanated people right now to receive this energy, this telluric forces, the energy that's frequentizing right now over the horizon on the Giza Plateau. It's spreading on the ley lines across the planet. It's especially for you. All you need is an eye to see, an ear to hear, and understanding heart. So let's stay to the spirituality aspect. We know that 5 days ago was 360 days. There's only 360 days in a year because there's 360 degrees in a circle. And in this calendar, each day is 24 hours and 35 minutes because there's 35 minutes that's split between the Duat and the Tuat, which represent sunrise and sunset respectively. Okay? Now, we know this because that, so now on these days, on the 360 day, we celebrate the next 5 days are not even on the calendar. So what they do in history or in academia or as theologians, what they do is they add 5 days. They call it an intercalendary month. They take a month and put 5 days in it. Then they put it on the lunar cycle calendar because every 130 years, 100 days is added to the calendar. So now you're confused. But now to stay with your cultural, cosmic, collective spirituality, we celebrate the birthday of Heru, which means Heru the elder, who then we celebrate the birthday of Asar, then we celebrate the birthday of Sut or Set, then we celebrate the birthday of Ast, and then we celebrate the birthday of Nebhet. Nebhet's birthday just passed, and now in the morning when the sun rises, the star rises with the sun, which means our earth has made one complete revolution of the sun. So now we're relating to this scientifically, mathematically, with our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality. Because now we know that Shu and Tefnut came from Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra. So now we know that the pyramid text story. Now let's relate it to science. We know that the primordial energy forces, which are the field forces, which are electromagnetism, weak force, strong force, and gravity. Okay? This is in science. When you go into science and you go into the astrophysics and quantum mechanics, you learn of the field forces or the string and the strand theorem. So when you learn this, you know that Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra has 4 attributes of manifestation. Here's your spirituality. Using the sacred science with the divine mathematics, we know that the first form of Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra, or attribute of manifestation of Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra, is Temu. Temu means to think. Temu means thought. Temu means to plan. So Temu becomes mentalism, which is equated to electromagnetism. Then we know that energy that is collected, absorbed, and then stored must be released. So he said, I already told you in the text, what it says in Medinette, he said, when I thought that the moment had come. So when the moment came, he fashioned his mouth and he uttered his name as a word of power. And when he uttered his name, energy that's collected, absorbed, and then stored must be released. It's the laws of universal capacitance, which is based upon Ma'at. And when this energy is released, the door opened up. And this door, which is the P, becomes Ptah. So Ptah becomes the second attribute of manifestation around Amateshra. The four attributes are Temu, Ptah, Amen, and Kepra. So first he's Temu. He thinks it out. It's not Atum. Atum is not even in the picture here. Okay? On the Shabaka stone, you'll see the name Ptah is first, Temu is second, and Kepra is third. So Ptah becomes the first name on the Shabaka stone in our cosmology because in Menepha, which is the White Wall, or in Memphis Temple, the temple in Memphis, which is called the White Wall, is the temple of Ptah. It was orientated to the spring equinox, to the constellation of Taurus in Greek, which is the constellation of Ptah. That's why on the Shabaka stone, Ptah is the supreme deity, because the temple of Menepha was built in the great golden age of Ptah. Just like in Luxor, they have an avenue of sphinxes. And this avenue of sphinxes is orientated to the spring equinox again, to the constellation of Aries. Aries is Greek. It means Amen in Medunecha. And when the sun came into the constellation of Amen 4,000 years ago, he became Amen Ra. That's why Amen Ra is the supreme deity. Our ancestors did everything is star dated, and it's a color code. This is what you have to remember. So the Greeks could not interpret this. The Greeks could not finesse this. They could not understand I am, he, she. So what they told you is, when you see Cecil B. DeMille's movies, I am that I am. They got the I am, but all they did was they corrupted, they fragmented, they plagiarized, and they regurgitated it back to you in an unholy manner and called it his story. So all they did was stole your story and fed it to you in an unholy manner. And then they put you on the lunar cycle calendar. So now you're walking dead. I mean, you're lost in space because you don't know how to tell time. You're eating this food. You're 24 degrees lower than Candida. That means you're scientifically dead. So you're actually a zombie. You walk. So this is where we're at right now. But we need. But they didn't know that we have a star that rises every year, and all we have to do is connect to this star and this sun at this particular moment, and we can revitalize our whole spirituality, our whole science, our whole mathematics, and regain control of this planet as the true monarch. So let me continue the story, and scientifically, if you don't mind, Siba, Black Ice Ricky.
No. Finish off your point. Finish off the points.
Okay.
I'm gonna break your bill.
Okay, great. Blessings. Dua. Okay, so if everybody's following me, because I'm going cosmic now. I'm going where the ordinary mind can't go, because we're moving faster than the speed of light now, because light moves at 186,000 miles per second. That's atomic energy. That's the light that you see. It's the outer verse of black holes, dark body radiations, and galaxies, which expand in the universe. But that's atomic energy, which is expanding from something we call subatomic. Because if the light shines down upon anything that's matter or is an object, it will cast a shadow. Can anybody tell me what that shadow is? Of course not. What the shadow is how our ancient ancestors were able to see that which was incomprehensible or that is unseen can now be revealed and comprehensible and understandable, because we applied our sacred science and our cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality, and we understand that light casts a shadow, and that shows that light has a mirrored reflection, which is the light is atomic, then there must be something subatomic. So now we're going to get to this with these four attributes of manifestation around Amateshra, equating it to the four primordial energy forces, field forces, which is electromagnetism, weak force, strong force, and gravity. First, he became Temu. He thought it out. Then he became Ptah, and he opened the door, and the energy is released, because energy is collected, absorbed, and this stored must be released. Now, the creator released himself. He's nothing now. Now is astrophysics and quantum mechanics, the string and the strand. He's nothing but a little string, and he's fluctuating. And so he had to embrace Ma'at, which is called universal capacitance. And when he embraced, or he or she, I mean he and she, Queen Mother Goddesses, but I say he, don't worry me. When I say he, I mean he, she, okay? But I'm saying he, but I mean he, she, because our creator is androgynous. Okay, so when he fluctuated, he embraced Ma'at, he became electrically charged. One end became a positive, the other one became a negative. And one end split into two, and the other end split into two. So there's the masculine and the feminine that's there from the beginning. Let me just make sure that we understand this. And so now he said, And then in the pyramid text, he says, it came to pass, I found no place upon which to stand. What he's doing, he's describing a sensation of weightlessness. So he's talking about gravity. So we have to be able to understand in this pyramid text and this dialogue and orientation within the Medunetta, he's explaining matter, solids, liquids, and gases, and how he developed and how the origins of existence and the creation and development of the universe came into being. And you have to apply these four primordial energy forces. So when he said, I found no place upon which to stand, because he had to overcome the sensation of weightlessness. So he said, I straightway brought forth from my own mind and thoughts the primeval mound from out of the primeval ocean of nothingness. Bam! Here comes Amen. Because Amen means the hidden one. But Amen also means, the Medunetta, Amen means the hidden one. But in the sacred science, it means gravity. It means the primordial mound. He said, I straightway brought forth the primordial mound from out of the primeval ocean of nothingness. He found a place upon which to stand. He had to overcome the sensation of weightlessness. And when we say the sensation of weightlessness, we're describing gravity, which is the third primordial field force. Electromagnetism, strong force, and gravity. We just explained this. Now we explaining. Now he says, now it pleased me to make others. He says in the Medunetta text. We have to resort, always our primary source has to be the Medunetta text. Through our cultural conscious spirituality, not through Gardner, not through Reisner, not through Gardner's sign list or Champollion or Bulger Birches or whoever you want. We're talking our story, not his story. This is the cosmic revelation, the cosmic thought. This is the self-creation of Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra. We're talking about our cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality, our story. So now he says, it pleased me to make others. So I went from being Nature 1 to Nature 3. I made these beings in the manner in which all things are made. I, Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra, the he, the she, the mother and father of all existence. I embrace my shadow and I grasp my member and I love myself. I issue forth the Nature Shoe. This is what he's saying in the Medunetta text. But in science, he's explaining now he became Kepra. If everybody knows Kepra, Kepra's the beetle with the sun disk on his head. And on his head is a sun disk because that's atomic energy. So now we're talking about dark body radiation, black holes, galaxies, and expanding universe. So we have an inner verse and an outer verse. I'm going to break this down on this level here because we're going to break it down on a deeper level scientifically. I just want to lead you right into this. I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to guide you through this. You should be able to feel a tingle in the back of your, between your two ears, behind the back of your cranium. If you feel a tingle right now, that's your pineal gland. It's starting to discrete. And if you feel a little tingles or some goosebumps down your back, that's your chakras igniting. Because that means your spirituality is trying to come to you right now. All you got to do is remember. Everything I'm telling you right now, you already know. I'm just here to help you remember. I am not a teacher. I am a Ra awakener. I'm here to help you remember. You got a bad case of amnesia. So here we go. He becomes, so now he says, it pleased me to make others. So now comes the fourth primordial energy force, which is Kepra, which is the weak force. So these are the four attributes of manifestation, which equates to the four primordial energy forces, which equates to the Medunetta text of the origins of creation, of the origins of existence. The creation, the origins of existence, and the creation and development of the universe as it was understood by our ancient primordial ancestors. So now that we got this far, let me break down the primordial forces and the four attributes of manifestation of Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra scientifically, because we must have absolute accountability and style validation, because we're still relating it to this helical rising back to the earth. So we're all subatomic now, but eventually we're going to come right back to our quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy, to our solar system, our 9 planets, to our Earth as it's revolving around the sun. The sun's revolving around each and every sign of the zodiac, the 26,000 years, the throne of procession. But right, we're not there now. We're all the way in subatomic energy right now. I'm going to bring you back in a minute. I'm not going to leave you up. I'm not going to leave you down. I'm going to guide you right in. Right now, I think everybody should put an oxygen mask on right about now. You know what I'm saying? We're getting ready to go deep inside the primeval ocean of nothingness. And I got to take you where no one else can go but the true Nagas. The true Shemsurus, those who are under a first frequency specifically. Okay? This is for my divine Shemsurus, my Nagas, my Nesubitis, my Sibas, my Shibas, my Munatats, my immortal ones of my art cherished. This one's for you. So now, we break down the primordial forces. We break down Nu, or So there's 5 ways of describing this through 5 trends of thoughts or teaching. You got new, the primary motion of nothingness. You got dark energy. You got oblivion, and NASA calls it the cosmological constant. Okay, what is oblivion? What is new? What is the primary motion of nothingness? Oblivion is a place of perpetual continuance, where particles of existence are reduced to its lowest common denominator, invisible electron strings and strands. It is a form of existence that connects the concept of subspansion and expansion. Its boundaries are endless and ever-reaching, indicating that it is the outer cover of this universe of radiation and light, and the inner cover that encloses this universe of dualism. This is the place of the all of alls, the holy of holiest, that sandwiches the universe of radiation and light. This qualifies it as the place or plane where matter can be reduced, absorbed, and then stored for the purpose of continuous perpetuation, where particles of the light and radiation are collected for the redistribution process involved in continuous evolutions. We're talking about new, the primary ocean of nothingness, or dark energy, or oblivion, or the cosmological constant. But all we're talking about is the all of alls, okay? Our ancestors had the Ankh. The Ankh breaks it down. If you understand the Ankh, everybody knows what the Ankh means. It's a feminine thing and all this other stuff and reciprocity. Yeah. Let's talk about it with our story. I'm not trying to tell you about history. Our story breaks down these forces. The Ankh, the circle on top represents one primordial force, which is electromagnetism. These 2 ends here represents the strong force and the weak force, and the stem represents gravity. Or it could be Ra Nebuchadnezzar, who created Shu and Tefnut, who created Sebenut, who created Heru, Asa, Asnep, Set, Nebhet, and so on and so forth, to Heru, to the Shemsu Heru. We come from the bottom stem up through our cultural spirituality to Shu and Tefnut, and we become immortality and expand forever in the universe. This is the oldest written and spoken word in Medunetta. The oldest spoken and written word is the circle and the dot. And we call that Ra. And you only see that symbol, that phenomenon in the sky at the moment of a total eclipse of the sun. When the moon passes in front of the sun as a complete solar eclipse, boom, a big ring appears around the sun with a black dot in the middle. And our ancestors said Ra. And they wrote it down with a stick on the ground and they said it. It's written and spoken word in Medunetta. The first word is Ra. But let's continue the story of creation. So we're talking about oblivion. Now, first primordial energy force. We're talking about the void. Okay? So now, the second we have to understand interference. Interference is universal capacitance, which is ma'at. It says that interference is the principle or spirit that is the one constant that affects change in the ever-changing universe. It is the spirit of continuation and development. It is the force that causes changing and alteration. It is unceasing, unalterable, and always at work. Water that is found in 3 forms, solids, liquids, and gases, are elements that bears witness to interference. Changes in nature occur at random, caused by storm, drought, or environmental relapse. Interference is all of these things. It is the reasons for the colors of light. It is the reason that radiation radiates. It is the master of death. It cannot die. There's no force in the universe that is older than this. Before radiation, there was only, before oblivion, there was only radiation, and the spirit of interference existed then. This spirit cannot be isolated from anything. It has something to do with everything. So we're breaking these things down scientifically so that we have a harmonic relationship of the integer. Our teachings of our cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality must have sacred science and divine mathematics in order for the cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality to be balanced with ma'at. So now we go to gravity. Now we're going to go to gravity. We're going to go to the radiation. Radiation is this egg. Anybody wants to Google it, you want to Google CBR, cosmic background radiation. It's the Kobe satellite, COBE. If you Google it right now with your little private little wireless device, Google Cosmic Observatory Background Explorer. Kobe is the cousin of the Hubble telescope. They took a picture in space, deep cocktail space. They found this egg-shaped anomaly. And because of its red and blue heat signature, they know it to be the molecular appearance from the source of all creation, or the source of subatomic space. Okay? They call this egg radiation. Our ancestors knew of this egg 10 million years ago. They just found it in 1989 with the Hubble telescope. But my ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors knew of this egg millions and millions of years ago. So what is radiation? Radiation is an energy form that is the result of a supernatural phenomenon, a universal metamorphosis involving beginnings and endings. It is the molecular appearance from the source of all creation. It is the force that drives the universe to expand outwardly and uniformly. It is a living, growing force. And because of this, it was thought to be a germ, the germ of life, the primeval germ of existence. Now, we have to understand the laws of universal dualism. This is the laws of universal dualism. The two key players are radiation and light. Within the universe, these two supply it with heat and movement. Radiation and light are the forces that allow uniform expansion and are the reasons why the universe is expanding. Without an understanding of these two forces, the universe is without explanation. They are mirrored images of each other, different only in their limitations. And from these two forces comes the laws of universal dualism. Hang with me one more time, Richie. Let me break this one down. Now let us move on to gravity. Because we have what we're explaining here is not Gagut. This is not God Almighty Grand Unification Theorem. This is first frequency Ra Never Teshuvah. This is the star gospel. This is the RSGUT, the Rosarian Star Grand Unification Theorem. And our theorem, we explain gravity because our ancestors knew gravity. It was in the Shabaka stone, the Kemenu, it was in the Memphis text, it was in all the texts. It's just that, but if you don't apply it with the concept of self-creation, you cannot apply it and have a uniform theorem. So here we go. Gravity, contrary to Isaac Newton, to Stephen Hawking and Einstein, is not just simply action from a distance proceeding from masses, or the force that attracts two celestial objects to one another. Gravity is the result of antimatter collapsing upon itself, producing gamma explosion, which release nuclear energy inwards and outwards. The energy that is released inwards is, was, and always shall be absorbed by the self-created one, Ra Never Teshuvah. The energy that is released outward beyond the gamma rings as bits of pure antimatter upon embracing interference or universal capacitance of Ma'at develops in a region we call the nursery of the stars as dark body radiation or black holes or galaxies. These dark body radiations, black holes or galaxies, are pushed away from the inner verse and is the realization of the outer verse. These dark body radiations, black holes or galaxies, produces atomic energy, light, stars, planet, moons, and life forms until all the above mentioned energy once again into oblivion, new, the primary ocean of nothingness, dark energy, or the cosmological constant. These forces will propel, adjust, and expand the continuous perpetual evolution of the expanding universe. So what we're explaining now is our greatest, this is our story. This is one of the greatest stories never told that the Greeks could not understand. So they corrupted it, fragmented it, plagiarized it, regurgitated it back to you, gave you a lunar cycle calendar, and just kept you under injured humanity because they knew that within the 26,000 year cycle of our Earth, our sun going through each and every sign of the zodiac through the phenomenon of precession, they knew that there's a time when a portal would open up and Uncle Set would have his time on the planet, which was 2,161 years ago. But what happened was Uncle Set didn't want to give it up. So what he did was, he said, well, if my time's got to be up, how about I just take time away from you and you don't know time? So they gave you a lunar cycle calendar. That's the Gregorian calendar you got on your wall. That's why you don't have a clue to what I'm really saying right now, but most of you can feel it. It's only meant for those who have an eye to see, the ear to hear, to understand how. I want to help you here to help you remember. But they gave you that Gregorian calendar, a lunar cycle calendar. So when you wake up in the morning, you are exposed to that lunar cycle calendar and you have a watch on your hand. If you got a watch on your arm, that means you're connected to GMT and UTC, which is Universal Time Coordinated, or Greenwich Mean Time, which is Stonehenge, England, which is 52 parallels north of the equator. That's the center of the world in consideration to the Hellenistic paradigm doctrines of Indian humanity, or this system that that rules us today. They relate to everything under Greenwich Mean Time. But NASA and the government doesn't use GMT and UTC. They use ZT. They use Zulu time. The only people that use UTC and GMT is people who are subjugated. That's why the Koreans are beefing with the United States. They're saying we're not going to use GMT. You tell UTC. That's for niggas. That's for slavery. That's for black people to keep them subjugated. Nobody uses that time but us.
That
So we got
the Gregorian calendar as well.
Exactly. So when you wake up in the morning, what you have to do is ask yourself is, how is it that they can pass down to their children and their descendants how to maintain our mental, physical, spiritual subjugation, yet we cannot pass down to our children how to bring forth our liberation and our divine birth of immortality for 4,000 years. Why hasn't we been able to do this? And it's very subtle, but when you woke up every morning, you looked at that wall, that Gregorian calendar. You looked at that watch. And now you become subjugated because you're under the Hellenistic paradigm doctrines of ancient humanity. So what they did was they know that under a lunar cycle calendar, every 130 years, one unearned day is added to the calendar, which you might not see in your lifetime, 130 years. You're not even going to live to be 130 years, especially if you're eating that man's food. If you're on the limit, you're a vegan, you might make it to 130. I plan on making it to 2. Okay, but anyways, now your child's not going to see it, and then your next child doesn't see it. And after 3 generations, 4 generations, to the 5th generation, on the spring equinox, the sun doesn't line up with the spring equinox because the moon drifts, the sun drifts because you're under lunar cycle calendar. So what happens is, after they gorged upon our land, after Sparta, Pianki, Tahaka, Shabaka, the 25th dynasty Kush kings lost control of Kemet, is when Darius came in, the Persians came in, the Babylonians came in, the Libyans took over, and then they all organized against us and they took us to court. It's called, and what they did, they had a decree called an execution of judgment, which meant that they took us to court. We wasn't even present. It's the first kangaroo court. And they said that all the nations ganged up on us after we lost control of Kemet. Okay, they all came in. The Persians, the Greek, the Babylonians, the Libyans, everybody came in on us. Okay, the Romans. Okay, and they took us to court and they said that the decree was there will never be another global Naga rule. Okay, this is called the Hellenistic paradigm doctrines of ancient humanity. So then they found us guilty. They sentenced us, and the guilty was we were sentenced to ancient humanity, which meant that if they was to see any melanated black burnt person on this planet, they had the right, the legal right, to place you into subjugation and to place you under their will and to inflict the most excruciating pain upon you, to whip you, to beat you, to burn you, to separate you from your children, and to place you under their will and under their conditioning. And this has been the way of the world for the last 4,000 years. It's called injured humanity. And it means that we have been Hellenized.
Elder,
Okay, so now that everybody
Elder.
can, yes.
All right,
Zero.
let me stop you because you've
Yeah, I'm
given
going.
a nice piece of information, and I
Right.
gotta tell everybody you're gonna have to go back. You're gonna have to really listen and dissect it and do research, because again, he's been giving you our ancestral tale, but he's also been giving you the scientific terminologies as well for you to go and do the research. But someone just asked a question, yeah,
Yes, yes, some
about
Q&A.
as far as
Q&A.
the Sirius cycle, the Sirius star constellation.
Yes.
How is this involved in this New Year cycle that we're in now?
Absolutely. Good question. Perfect question. Great audience there. That's the kind of questions I like. We have our star Ra and the star Sirius, and Sirius A and Sirius B, which is Sirius A. Sirius B just moves with Sirius A, but Sirius A and Ra does a binary dance. Okay? They dance. And every 1,461 years they come together. It's called a helical rising, which means that the sun and the star breaks the plane together. Today, this morning, the helical rising, the star Sirius rose first, and 20 minutes later, the Ra rose behind him. Okay, we call it a helical rising, but a true helical rising happens every 1,461 years. And when the star is at its aphelion, or the closest, I'm using Greek terms now, ap means the closest that the farthest away the earth is from the sun, or the closest the earth is from the sun is the aphelion, the perihelion on the calendar. But I'm using these terms when that binary dance, they come together the closest, or when they go away the furthest away, when they're making that loop and they're dancing together, because they do a binary dance, is 1,461 years. Now, how does that relate to the phenomenon of precession, the 26,000 year cycle? If you know the sign of Pisces in Greek and you look at its symbolism, you see it's two fishes, but when you see it in symbolism, it's two half circles. And it's two half circles with a line connecting it, or two half circles that are twisted between each other. That is the binary dance. And this indicates that our sun has made one complete orbit around the 26,000 or 12 signs of the zodiac, or the 26,000 year phenomenon of precession. That is why I say that the year is number 9. How can I say the year is number 9? How can I prove that? When Mefundishi and Machete Amen and the ASCAC and the Khemetic community says this is 6,752 bada bada bing Samatawi. First of all, just to use 6,072.something, whatever Samatawi, I use the Gregorian chronological timeline to begin my count. Okay? So that shows fallacy right there, because I just use his story to try to find my story or our story. So you fell subject or prey to the paralysis of analysis. Now, how do we find out true time? Because we know the Merku, which is the Great Pyramid, has star shafts, or they call them air shafts, but they're known as star shafts. The southern star shaft points to Pleiades, Orion's belt, and Suptit, which that's how we know the Earth made the annual cycle. And the northern star shaft points to the circumpolar stars, or the never-setting stars, which is Polaris, Vega, Theban, and Draco. And this is how we know where we're located on the galactic elliptic plane of our quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. That may sound like a lot, but if you look at a black hole in space, if you look at a black hole from an aerial view, it looks like a hurricane spinning. But when you look at it from the side view, it's nothing but a line with a glow at the top and a glow at the bottom. That line is called the galactic elliptic plane. Our sun goes 15 degrees up, comes down, hits the plane, goes 15 degrees under, comes up, hits the plane, goes 15 degrees. That's how it moves through the phenomenon of precession of 26,000 years of the precession of equinox. So now, on March 21st,
Elder, I got another question for you, Elder.
Okay.
I got another question
go ahead,
for you.
go ahead.
So when you finish answering this in your fullest sense, no, just let me know when you finish answering, and then I can answer you the next.
Okay, this is it here. I just want to give him the third aspect. I gave him 1, 2, the southern shaft, the northern star shaft. Now, on the Gregorian calendar, on March 21st, on the spring equinox, you get up in the morning before the sun rises, an hour before the sun rises, and whatever constellation is 23.5 degrees from horizontal, when you look to the east, whatever constellation is in the sky is where we're located on the galactic plane, or where we're located through the signs of the zodiac. Right now, we just left the age of Pisces, because we know the constellation of Pisces, the ring or the circle at the top of the constellation fell below the horizon, and it will never appear again for 24,000 years. Okay? What's there now is called Aquarius, which we call Ma'ara Piasa, and that will be there for 2,161 years. I answered that one. Go on. What's the next question?
Well, this one's a bit more personalized, maybe. Brother's asking, what's the best way to meditate with this energy that we're celebrating today? Like, you know, what's your personal way? Or
great question.
What's the way?
This is a great crowd. This is what I'm talking about. That's first frequency questions. Absolutely. First of all, now that you know that meditating is not just emptiness. It's not just emptiness. You have to know the inner verse, the outer verse. You have to know time. You have to know the 3 motions of time, which is the earth rotates on its axis. It revolves around the sun, and it's tilted 23.5 degrees from vertical, which creates a wobble, which is a 26,000 year cycle. Now, when you meditate, you could assume the position. Then your heartbeat and your breathing must be the same. And once you have completed that, and your heartbeat and your breathing are on the same rhythm, boom, 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 and your breathing is the same, that's when you breathe outward. And when you breathe outward, you perform astral projection. And when you perform astral projection, it becomes the Abaka Naku. The Ba, or the spirit, can leave. It's called transcendental meditation. Now your spirit leaves the body, the physical realm, as breath, and now you can see your body below you as you ascend to the ceiling in your house, and you can see yourself looking down. Now you pass through the ceiling, you're passing through apartments, or you're passing to the top of your house. Now you look down at your house, or you're looking down at your apartment. And as you ascend, now you see your town, you see your state, you see the You see, do you see the eastern hemisphere, the eastern hemisphere of the United States, or if you're in England, you see the England, whatever side of the world you're on, or Africa. And now as you keep going up, you see the earth. And now you keep going up, now you see the moon. You're passing the moon. Now you're passing the sun. Now you're passing into our quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. Now you're inside the black hole. The black hole is expanding with the universe. Now you can make a decision. Shall I continue to expand with the universe? Or can I go backwards and find out where the universe is expanding from? So you have to pass what they call the Byron plasma barrier. Google Byron plasma barrier. It's where atomic energy cannot go further because it's subatomic there. That is where the ring is and the egg exists, the universe that we just spoke about, which I said before. So now you're going into primordial areas. So this is what meditation is all about, being able to understand who, what, where I am. And I can't understand the who, what, where, and why I am without knowing the origins of my existence. That's why I broke that down to you before we got to this level. And I hope I answered that question sufficiently enough at this brief moment.
Also,
You
also
did.
Shiva,
You
explain,
did.
explain. Go
You
ahead.
did. That was beautiful.
Next question.
Go true, brother.
Explain the process of meditation using your tongue.
When you use your tongue has to roll backwards. You roll your tongue backwards to the top of your mouth, across the front of your teeth, to the back of your tonsils, and you hold it up there because the air is supposed to go straight to the diaphragm and back up. It's a machine. Okay? You don't breathe through your mouth. Your mouth is never open. Only time you open your mouth is when you connect with the breathing of the heartbeat, and you're breathing and synchronize. Then you open your mouth and you exhale. And when you exhale, and when that breath comes out of your mouth, is when the spirit or the ka or the ku, or you could say the ba or the ka, is when it exits, and now you begin to go on your transcendental meditation. So the tongue is positioned to produce the resonance or the sounds that are necessary to embrace the nerve. Remember the nerve, the energy. It's all about energy. Okay, let's explain this first of all. The first law of existence is that energy must be spent. The first law of energy is to always exist and expand. Existence demands that energy must be spent. Existence is realized by the expansion of energy that must have a source. In the case of our universe, life is always associated to heat and movement. But the energy that drives the entire universe is of the direct result of the self-creation of Ra Never Teshuvah. So, in understanding that, you have to understand that Ra Never Teshuvah, in order to release himself out of the primeval ocean of nothingness, first he had to release himself. Then he sought out himself. He overcame, when I say he, I mean she. When she, okay, feminine, I don't want the Queen Mother Goddess to let me think this, I'll get stuck on this masculine conversation. First you must release yourself. Then you must seek out yourself. Overcome the sensation of weightlessness, embrace ma'at within yourself, then you will desire to acquire the ability to experience the phenomenon of being, or the ability to self-create. Can we get a question from a Queen Mother? Can we get some feminine question? Can you get someone in the audience with the feminine energy force, so that we can balance some of this energy and keep everything balanced with ma'at? Because I hate doing a show with just masculine conversation.
No, well, the first question about Sirius was from a sister, brother. Don't get it twisted. She kicked off the questions.
That's fantastic.
She came with
I knew that had to be feminine. Yes.
The meditation question was from a brother.
Okay.
He was talking about he had his tonsils removed. Do you know that whether or not the tonsils affect vibration?
Yes, absolutely. This is what the Medu Netta does. The Medu and the words and sounds are one. In Medu Netta, the words and the sounds are one. So we know this because we go back to the concept of self-creation. Every time you want to ask yourself a question, all you have to do is duplicate this process of self-creation, because this is what the creator did. The creator had to speak his name in order to release itself from this state of inertness. This state of primordial ocean of nothingness is a place we call a perpetual continuance. We can only exist there as energy, thought, feeling, and non-motion. So the creator and the ancient ones, they're called, or the Khemetic, they gathered around the creator and they performed a ceremony which is called Heka. And when this ceremony was produced, the creator said in the Medunetta text, when I thought the moment had come. So how does time come? I know how a man and a woman comes. I know how maybe there's a sale down at the corner, or there's a car sale coming, or there's a big party coming down the street. But how does time come? Time comes because energy that is collected, absorbed, and then stored must be released. So the creator and the ancient ones who existed as energy, thought, feeling, and non-motion began the process of energy, thought, feeling, and motion. That's all the creator did. He started to perpetuate motion. Okay, so it says in the text in my book, The Cosmic Egg, aka The Primeval Germ, a journey of 59 plus 21 zeros. If you want to read my book, or you go on my line, you can order my book, because I give all this information out for free. But I do have a book, I do have a calendar that I do ask for somebody to buy the calendar and to buy my book. Other than that, all this information is free, because this is our story. I cannot charge you for this information. But anyways, in considering the concept of magnetism, which produces the anomalies of attraction and repulsion, 5 phenomena must be understood. They are the 2 voids, heat, movement, and being. Without any other single phenomenons, the others could not exist. They are interdependent upon one another, and their presence allows purpose, function, order, and law. One void is the result of being, and the other void is the product of being. That is to say that the void of deep, dark, cold space is a necessity, requirement of being, while the void of oblivion, new to primordial nothingness, or dark energy, or the cosmological constant, is the origins of being. The laws of magnetic attraction and repulsion begins with the inner open understanding of these 5 anomalies, or these 5 phenomenons. Something is always the result of something else, or something change is always the result of an interaction of these 5 phenomenons. Inside a black hole, where matter can be destroyed, a door opens to oblivion. Its atomic energy is disassembled and decimated, and its atomic value is absorbed. This place, oblivion, is called the capacitor of capacitance. Capacitance is the ability to collect and store energy. This energy that's collected can also be released or discharged. From this energy that's released or discharged comes the laws of attractions and repulsion. Harmonic strings and strands represent the quantum result of the total decimation of the atom, leaving behind invisible electron lines of the magnetic flux. Opposition or repulsion allows the expulsion of this energy in accordance to the laws of universal capacitance, ma'at, which are mirrored in the realization that even black holes can be absorbed into oblivion through the process of overconsuming. Why would this not also apply to oblivion? When energy is filled to capacitance, when the void is filled to capacitance, energy must be released. X-electron, or round of a tesseract, is this energy in principle that is able to release itself and then seek out itself, overcome the sensation of weightlessness, and acquire the ability to experience the phenomenon of being. That's just another way of expressing it scientifically to go with our cultural spirituality and our divine mathematics, so that things begin to make sense. Now, I could go on to you and explain to you the RSGUT, the Astarian Star Grand Unification Theory, but we'll go with Q&A. Q&A, go ahead.
Oh, bro. Okay, so the next question is, I believe it's about the book, The Emerald Tablets. Do you know anything about that? Sisters asking, what about the Emerald Tablets?
You've been Hellenized and lobotomized. All that is Greek. That's the Hermetic. That is called, when the Greeks came into Kemet, they took the information and plagiarized it, corrupted and fragmented it, and placed it under the Kabbalion and called it the Hermetic. Now, the Emerald Tablets originally contain the Book of All Knowings. It's called the Divine Akasha, where everything that is written, spoken, and done it's in the Book of Divine Remembrance, and it's called the Akasha. But they corrupted it, And this information is still hidden underneath the sands and will be revealed to us in the future by our ancestors because they will be revealed because we will be going through environmental relapse, which is happening right now. The earth is going through environmental relapse because of the question of the binary star of Cyrus and Ra and the dance it makes, which means we just completed one complete cycle of 26,000 years, which means that the Dogons and the Mayans, they thought that they said it was the end of one, that it was the end of the world, but it only meant the end of one cycle, the beginning of another. Now, our world, our sun is moving again from year one. We're at year number 9, and we're passing through what we call the cosmic rift. Google cosmic rift. It's a part of the Milky Way galaxy that's void of light. And when our sun enters into this rift, it enters into this gas bubble. And the sun is dragging 9 planets with it. And when it drags these 9 planets, viscous matter is going to be pulled off the surface of the sun, which they call CMEs, or coronal mass ejections, or solar flares. And some of these solar flares will be earth directed, which will create these environmental relapse, which will become super hurricanes, super volcanoes, super flash floods, super earthquakes. All the volcanoes on the planet are erupting. The Caldera and Yellowstone Park's getting ready to explode. It's the environmental relapse.
Well,
Earth is going through changes.
Brother, let me just
go ahead.
No, because what you was talking about led perfectly into the next question, because someone was actually asking what type of change do you see occurring on this planet once our people change their perspectives and experiences of our actuality from the Hellenistic Gregorian calendar, and we get back to our original ancestral way. What changes do you see occurring on the planet?
And as I said before,
the question. So you started to touch on that.
That's it. This is
planetary change. So going from there, that's the question.
This is first frequency specifically. Okay, 8 billion people on the planet. All right, we're not going to save them all. Okay, now, as I said, we're moving through this gaseous bubble as we complete our next voyage around the phenomenon of precession. And at this time, these environmental relapses are going to occur, and everything that they stole from us will be revealed again. These mountains, these landslides from these mountains collapsing are going to reveal these Nagas, these African statues. These pyramids are going to be revealed. These ancient kingdoms are going to be revealed. Does not relate to today's chronological timeline. We use in our calendar, in our Ipetaru, in our Shabit Tempuaru Pamaat, we use the Neteruological star timeline, which the not modern white males today, like Robert Duvall or Graham Hancock or John Anthony West, they're all using this system that I'm telling you right now. They're using to count time through the phenomenon of precession. And this is how we must be able to relate to this time. So anyways, the most important thing that happens after these giant earthquakes, which creates these tsunamis, which is going to wipe out the East Coast, and then you have the earthquakes, and then you have the calderas are going to explode, the volcanoes are erupting, the earth is going through a transformation because it's going through a purging, because whether you like it or not, the ancestors are going to return the planet to you, whether you like it or not. And when the rubble clears and the smoke sets down and the smoke settles in, we want to rise up with an impetu, with a calendar, so that we know how to tell time, so that we know how to tell true time, and that we can connect to our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality. So when all this Pan-Africanism comes in, and all this Hotep pimping comes in, and everybody's running for our Hotep money, when all the pimps and the hustlers come back in to gorge upon you because it's going to become predatorial, we want to make sure that we're walking with Ma'at and talking with Ma'at, and we breathing with Ma'at. That means we know how to tell time, and that our children know how to tell time, so this will never happen to us again for another 26,000 years, because this isn't the first time it happened. We went through this 26,000 years over 100,000 times. We've been here for tens of millions of years. That's why they got prophecies. This ain't the first time we've been here. Did I somewhat answer that question?
Cycles and circles. That's what people need to understand. Listen, we're coming up to the 2-hour mark, so I'm gonna call it there. But we are definitely gonna come back and do another part Yeah, because I
Absolutely.
don't want to saturate too much. I think we've covered
Yeah,
a nice amount.
we saturated.
I
Yeah,
want the
we
elder, before you go, elder, I want you to just tell the people where they can get your calendar, where they can find your book. I'll be posting the
yeah.
description of where to get your
What I,
stuff. And
yeah.
because there's people asking questions still,
Yeah, well,
I
I
want
answer.
us to do a show in the next 2 days. I
Yeah,
want us to do a show in the next
I'm
couple
all,
of days where
yeah,
it's
I'm
going to
all,
be the Q&A. And I
yes,
want the people to come on and ask different questions, pick your
yes,
brain,
yes,
ask about ceremonies, ask about
yes,
science, and I want
yes,
us to go in more. So before we
yes.
go, tell
Okay,
us where we
so,
can get your book, where we can
well,
find the
you can find
calendar.
me on, what you can do is find me on Facebook. My name is PTAH. P as in Peter, T as in Teddy, A as in always, H as in happy. Ptah. Ptah, SKR. Sika, Asar, ASAR. And you can get the calendar and the book there. But what I like to tell everybody is tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the United States, I will be in Roxbury, Boston, Mass. At the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists performing the Hesi, the Saku, the affirmation for the Helical Rising, for the New Year's celebration. I'm going to get my rest right now, get up in a couple of hours, get dressed, and head up to the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists. And I'll be broadcasting on Facebook Live from the tomb room of Nesubithia Sparta at the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists. And it has been an honor to be back on your platform, Black Ice TV 7. Richie, it's my honor to be back here. And we're glad to have our Seba from the Sudan was here to bless us. We want to get him back on the show. And I want to say thank you to my brothers in England, to my brothers in the Sudan, in Africa, South America, and worldwide who listen to Black Ice TV 7. My name is Ptah Sikasaurus. The Cosmic Thought, his name is Ramutef Queb. He is an official distributor. He is an official distributor of the Rasarian Khemetic Solar Civil Lunar Calendar. His name is The Cosmic Thought, Ramutef Queb. He's on Facebook, Ramutef Queb. He's also a distributor of the Rasarian Khemetic Solar Civil Lunar Calendar and the Neteduological Star Timeline. So, in saying that, I
That's
would like
cool.
to say, Panata Apupama Act, Unkwas Dejet, Uncle Seneb, Ubenepike upon the Buharu Ma'ati, rising always in divine excellence with Ma'ati, every day, all day. And I like to say to all my Queen Mother Goddesses, I apologize. Next time we will have a Queen Mother Goddess on the platform or inside the queue with us so that we can balance the masculine and feminine force. So please, some Queen Mother, please get in touch with Black Ice TV Richie so that you can become on the platform with us so we can balance the conversation so that the masculine and the feminine energy is balanced the next time that we meet. And in saying that, I say to everybody, Atum
No,
Ra,
no.
Hotep, Happy New Year's, Uben Suptit, Suptit Cyrus rising. Everybody rise, everybody rise, rise for Suptit, Suptit's rising. Everyone should know their past. I said everyone should know, but they don't know nothing. And they just keep running. You got to bow your head to Africa. You got to bend your head down low. She's our mother. You don't have no other. The year is number 9, phenomenal procession. New Age Order, the Great Golden Age is Mara Piasa. Smata we. Smata we. Everybody rise. Who been something? Hotep.
That's so people. Listen, Black Eyes TV is back again. We're going to be doing some more shows, definitely. I know it's been a little while since I've done a few shows. You might have caught me on other people's channels, but we're definitely going to come back in the spirit and the energy of this Khemetic New Year. So look out for more stuff. There's still videos going up of content and stuff we're doing across the UK, working with our fellow Africans, our Americans. So go back, check that out. And if you didn't know, we did this show a year ago to the day again. Yeah, where we went in, me, Brother Ptah, and Brother Kaba, where we
Yes.
had a nice chat. So by all means, go back into the archives, go and have a look, go and see where it is. But I want to say big up to everybody who's joined us. Big up to all the feminine energy that joined us as well in the chat room. Big up to everybody that had questions. Sorry I didn't get the last few questions in, but hold them because I'm going to have my brother back on. And when I do, it's going to be more of a Q&A. So I want everybody to do their research, get in, get ready, because when he comes back on, and our brother from the Sudan, I want nothing but questions. I want nothing but knowledge, because again, this Khemetic knowledge isn't about a group thing in the sense that you can just follow. It's about you having your own epiphany, your own moment in time to realize your place out here within this sliding scale of knowledge, information, gases, radiation, crystals, and all the rest of it. So again, please listen, research, come back again with questions, and we will definitely build together in the true spirit of Africa and our ancestors. Big up to everybody for joining us. Big up to my brothers again for joining me on the panel. Peace to everybody. You will hear from us soon. Black Ice TV in the place. Ashe.
Atum Ra Hotel.